For over a decade, the Duggar family was one of the most recognizable names in American reality television. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, a devoutly religious couple from the small town of Tontitown, Arkansas, opened their homes to television cameras and to millions of viewers who tuned in week after week to watch them raise their 19 children, all of them with names starting with the letter J. They represented something many people found comforting: a wholesome family that smiled for the cameras, held hands before marriage, wore modest clothing, and credited their faith for everything they had. Others watched for the mere reality TV spectacle of having such a large family, something the vast majority of viewers had no experience with. Think, how many families do you know that have 19 children? TLC originally called it 17 kids and counting, but would update the number every time they had another child, finally ending with 19 kids and counting. And then, one by one, the cracks started showing. First, the oldest son Josh was exposed for victimizing his own sisters as a teenager. Then, years later, he was convicted in federal court for downloading some of the most disturbing CSAM images that investigators had ever seen. TLC canceled the show twice. The family's carefully constructed image crumbled publicly. And then, just when the story seemed like it couldn't get any worse, it did. On March 18, 2026, Joseph Duggar, the seventh child of Jim Bob and Michelle, the one who seemed like the quieter, more settled brother, was arrested on charges of SA. A 14-year-old girl had come forward to police, saying that when she was just 9 years old, Joseph had SA'd her multiple times during a family vacation in Panama City Beach, Florida, and he admitted to it. 2 days later, his wife Kendra was arrested as well.
To understand the story, you have to understand the world Joseph Duggar grew up in. He was born on January 20th, 1995, the seventh of 19 children born to Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar. Jim Bob, a former Arkansas state representative, and Michelle, a homemaker, subscribed to a fundamentalist Christian philosophy closely aligned with the Quiverful movement, a belief system that views large families as divine blessings and rejects birth control of any kind. The Duggars preferred not to label themselves as Quiverful, but the parallels are very hard to miss. The children were homeschooled. They followed strict rules about courtship: no physical contact before marriage, dressing modestly, and they were always chaperoned. The whole family avoided secular music and pretty much all mainstream entertainment. They were also deeply connected to the Institute in Basic Life Principles, or IBLP for short. This is a controversial, fundamentalist Christian organization founded by Bill Gothard, a man who would later face allegations of sexual harassment involving dozens of young women. The Duggars were the IBLP's most famous faces. All of this was presented on television as aspirational, but critics, including former Duggar family members, have since described a system built on secrecy and control, with something more sinister being hidden even as the cameras rolled. Joseph, usually referred to as Joe, appeared on both 19 Kids and Counting and its spin-off Counting On. He was presented on TV as a kindly man who put his family and his faith above all else. Met his wife Kendra Caldwell through his church, proposed to her at his sister's wedding in May of 2017 after a few months of courtship, as they often refer to it, and the two married and went on to have 4 children together. He appeared on Counting On as a young husband and father, living out the ideals his parents had raised him with. Behind that image was something deeply disturbing going on.
According to an arrest affidavit from the Bay County Sheriff's Office in Panama City, Florida, the investigation began when police officers were contacted by the 14-year-old girl. During a forensic interview, the girl said that in 2020, Joseph Duggar had SA'd her on multiple occasions during a family vacation. According to the press release, the victim reported that he repeatedly asked her to sit on his lap throughout the vacation. He also asked her to sit beside him on a couch and cover both of them with a blanket. This is when the assaults occurred. The victim said Joseph eventually apologized and the assault stopped after that. On March 17, 2026, The victim's father confronted Joseph directly about what his daughter had told him. According to law enforcement, Joseph admitted to it. Tontitown police then had the father call him again, this time with a detective listening in on the line, and they got Joe's admission a second time on recording. That was all the authorities needed. On March 18, 2026, Joseph Garrett Duggar was arrested in Tontitown, Arkansas by local police, acting on a warrant obtained by the Bay County Sheriff's Office in Florida. He was charged with 2 counts of lewd and lascivious behavior, specifically essay of a victim under the age of 12 and lewd and lascivious conduct by a person 18 years of age or older. His booking photo was taken by the Washington County Sheriff's Office. It showed a 31-year-old man in a gray and white prison jumpsuit, a far cry from the smiling young father America had watched on TV. Because the alleged offenses occurred in Florida, Joseph was subject to extradition proceedings. Just 2 days after his arrest on March 20, 2026, he made his first court appearance via Zoom. No family members were present, and he did not enter a plea and waived his right to an extradition hearing. This means he agreed to be transferred from the Washington County Jail in Arkansas to Florida, where the Bay County has up to 30 days to transfer him. The investigation still remains open, according to police.
The story didn't stop with Joseph. On March 20th, 2026, the same day that Joseph waived his extradition, his wife, 27-year-old Kendra Duggar, was arrested by Tontitown police on a series of misdemeanor charges in Arkansas. According to Washington County Sheriff's Office, Kendra was taken into custody around 4:56 p.m. and posted bond about an hour later. Her charges included 4 counts of second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 counts of second-degree false imprisonment. The Tontitown Police Department confirmed in a statement that charges had been filed against both Joseph and Kendra in connection with the ongoing investigation. As of the date of this recording, the specific details of the allegations against Kendra have not been fully spelled out in public record. However, a source with knowledge of this case told multiple news outlets that after Joseph's arrest, investigators conducted a home study of the property. According to that source, they found 2 rooms where the doorknob locks were on the outside rather than the inside, and they theorized this was being used to imprison the children. The couple has 4 children together. Both parents were arrested in the same week on charges involving the welfare of minors. What was happening in that house is a question that, unfortunately, does not yet have a public answer.
To understand this case, you need to understand Josh Duggar's case first. Without it, none of this makes sense. In May of 2015, the entertainment magazine In Touch Weekly published a bombshell expose based on a 2006 Springdale Police Department report that revealed that Josh Duggar had, as a teenager, essayed 5 girls, including 4 of his own sisters. This reportedly occurred between 2002 and 2003 when Josh was 14 to 15 years old. Jim Bob and Michelle were aware of it at the time. Their response was to send Josh to a family friend who ran a Christian home renovation program for counseling. They didn't call the police, and they didn't get him a licensed therapist. When police were eventually notified in 2006, the statute of limitations had already expired. Josh publicly admitted to the essay allegations in 2015, calling his past behavior inexcusable. TLC suspended and then permanently canceled 19 Kids and Counting on July 16, 2015, the same day Josh's wife Anna gave birth to their 4th child. Then that same month, Ashley Madison, a website for married people who cheat on their spouses, had a data breach that it revealed that Josh had a paid account. He admitted to the infidelity, and his parents called his enrollment in a faith-based rehabilitation center a crucial first step. It wasn't. On April 29, 2021, Josh Duggar was arrested by U.S. Marshals. He was charged with 1 count of receiving and 1 count of possessing CSAM. Federal investigators had traced it to a computer at the used car lot Josh owned in Springdale, Arkansas. The evidence was extensive. Digital forensics show Josh had set up a hidden password protection partition on his computer's hard drive, specifically to conceal the CSAM from accountability software that was supposed to report his internet activity to his wife. He used the same password for other personal and family accounts. During the trial, images were found on his computer containing essay of children as young as toddlers. Prosecutors described Josh's material as some of the worst they have ever encountered. Josh pled not guilty, and his defense team argued someone else had accessed the device. The jury, however, did not buy that. On December 9, 2021, after deliberating for less than 7 hours, Josh Duggar was found guilty on both counts. On May 25, 2022, U.S. District Judge Timothy Brooks sentenced him to 12 years and 7 months in federal prison. He was ordered to serve 20 years of supervised release after that, with no unsupervised contact with minors, including his own children. He was fined $50,000. Josh appealed. The Eighth Circuit upheld the conviction in August of 2023. The Supreme Court declined to take up his case in June of 2024. He remains incarcerated at FCI Seagoville, Texas. His wife Anna has stood by him throughout. Now, from behind bars, Josh has weighed in on his brother's arrest. Through his attorney, he issued a statement saying he was deeply saddened by the allegations. His lawyer told the Daily Mail that Josh understands the stigma of being accused and lives with the painful reality of how false accusations can destroy a life, adding that Josh hopes and prays for his brother's well-being in this difficult time.
The show ran for years, and the whole time, these horrific things were taking place. 19 Kids and Counting debuted on TLC on September 29, 2008, though the Duggars had appeared in various Discovery Health specials years before that. They first aired in 2004 when the family had 14 children and Michelle was pregnant with her 15th. TLC series followed the family through basically every life event you could think of: school, road trips, and new births. Every episode centered around their faith, and every challenge they faced was met with prayer. They were on magazine covers, they gave political interviews, they published books. Jim Bob even ran unsuccessfully for the Senate in 2002 and again for the Arkansas State Senate in 2006. What viewers couldn't see was what the cameras were not capturing. A 2023 documentary on Amazon Prime Video named Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets went a long way towards changing that. It featured interviews with Jill Duggar Dillard, one of Josh's victims, and his own sister, as well as other former members of the IBLP community. The documentary detailed the control exerted by the organization, the culture of silence, and the truth of what really went on when the cameras weren't rolling. Jill described an upbringing built on fear and rigid control. She also revealed something extremely unethical. TLC paid money to the show that went entirely through Jim Bob. None of the adult children ever received payment for their own appearances. After Josh's arrest in 2021, TLC moved very fast to avoid brand damage. They already canceled the original series in 2015 following the first wave of SA revelations, and quietly launched Counting On, featuring the younger Duggar siblings and pretending like Josh didn't exist. When Josh was arrested on federal charges, TLC canceled Counting On as well, ending its run after 11 seasons. Joe and Kendra Duggar had appeared prominently on Counting On as a young married couple. Whatever the Duggar brand stood for, it doesn't stand for that anymore.
On March 19, 2026, one day after Joseph's arrest, Jill Duggar Dillard and her husband Derek published a statement on their family blog saying they were shocked and heartbroken to learn about the arrest. They said they had first heard about it through a text from a friend and not from the family itself. They shared that, and I quote, "We strongly condemn abuse. We support the rule of law and hope that justice will be achieved. Our hearts go out to the innocent juvenile victim of this unspeakable crime and her family." They also expressed love for Kendra and the 4 children. Jessa Duggar Seawald posted a then-deleted statement on her Instagram stories, saying that her and her husband Ben learned along with the rest of the world and were in complete shock, expressing grief for the victim. The most powerful response came from Amy Duggar King, Jim Bob's niece, who appeared on the show alongside her cousins. Now, if you've watched any of this, Amy is the cousin that isn't into all of this. She's a little wild. So Amy has been one of the loudest voices calling out the family's dysfunction for years. Following Joseph's arrest, she released a statement saying that she was sickened, heartbroken, and deeply angry. She praised the victim's courage in coming forward and directed her attention squarely at the culture that produced this, saying,
"In light of the recent allegations involving my cousin Joseph Duggar, I am sickened, heartbroken, and deeply angry. My first thoughts are with the victim, a child who deserved to be safe, protected, and surrounded by people she could trust. The courage it took for her to come forward, especially after years of carrying something so heavy, cannot be overstated. And that bravery deserves to be honored above all else. I will always, always honor the victims and talk about them and celebrate their bravery and truth, because that's how monsters like this get put away. I was utterly shocked to hear about these allegations in Joseph's arrest. At the same time, I am not surprised that another alleged predator has emerged from this toxic system. For years, I've spoken out about the importance of truth, accountability, and protecting children, even when it meant going against my own family.
When news broke that Kendra had also been arrested, Amy issued a follow-up statement clarifying that when she had initially written prayers for Kendra as a wife blindsided by devastating news, she had not yet learned of the charges against Kendra herself. She also was quoted as saying to Entertainment Weekly, "I don't know. I just thought everyone should know there's more to this story. I don't know what it is, though." Notably absent from the public conversation were Jim Bob and Michelle. As of the date of this recording, they have not said a single word publicly.
When the story became public and TLC felt the pressure, they canceled the show and quietly gave the family a new one. Josh wasn't on Counting On in any meaningful way, and the network presumably hoped viewers would move on. Joseph's alleged crimes reportedly occurred in 2020, 5 years after Josh's first public exposure. If the allegations are proven true, Joe was committing SA during a period when Counting On was still airing. The family desperately was trying to rehabilitate its public image. And the charges against Kendra open another troubling layer. If a parent is charged with endangering the welfare of minors and false imprisonment in connection with what's going on, it's hard not to wonder, what exactly did she know about it? Was she complicit with everything that was going on? As of the date of this recording on March 24th, 2026, here is where things stand. Joseph has been arrested in Arkansas and has waived his right to an extradition hearing. He faces charges of lewd and lascivious behavior, including SA of a victim under the age of 12 and lewd and lascivious conduct by a person 18 or older. He has admitted to the alleged conduct both to the victim's father and to the Tontitown detectives during a recorded phone call. He has not entered a formal plea in court. Kendra was arrested on March 20th, 2026 on 4 counts of second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 counts of second-degree false imprisonment. All of these are misdemeanor charges in Arkansas. She was released roughly an hour after being taken into custody. The full details of the case against her have not been released. The investigation spans 2 states and multiple agencies. No court date in Florida has been set. Meanwhile, Joseph and Kendra's 4 children are at the center of a real uncertainty. Both of their parents have been arrested in the span of 48 hours. Their father has admitted to law enforcement that he SA'd a child. As with all cases that have yet to go to trial, Joseph and Kendra are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
For years, millions of Americans invited this family into their living rooms and admired what they saw, or at least appreciated the spectacle of what it had to offer. And beneath all of it, Children were being hurt. The victim in the Joseph Duggar case, a girl who was 9 years old in 2020 and is now 14, found the courage to tell her father what had happened to her. Thankfully, he believed her. And he confronted the man she named, and that man, for a lack of a better term, admitted to what he had done. She is the reason Joseph Duggar is in custody right now. Whatever happens next in the courts, that matters. That 14-year-old girl is the hero in all of this.